It's okay. I don't need them or value them.
Justin, what would you do all day if you didn't have those?
Ears?
Yeah. You couldn't listen to podcasts.
See things, I guess. Probably taste things.
How would you see the Sierra
Smell
sounds?
Okay, so we're live now. Wait, hang on.
Oh. Should we just go off on our other podcast topic?
Yeah.
We should do a podcast on at some point.
You're listening to The Scrimmage with Daniel Hargrove and Justin Domashevitz.
Sorry, that was the sound that we got blasted into our earballs
Did
to
that
start.
sound go live over the broadcast, or was that just
Yeah, because Johanna heard it.
Well,
In fact, I heard it through Johanna's headphones. It was that loud.
We apologize.
Do we, though?
It's Andrew's fault.
Headphone check.
Headphone check.
We apologize, but more importantly, it's Andrew's fault.
Wow, normally we cover for him.
Not
And you're
this
just
time.
rolling him right under the bus. Well, normally we're like,
I think
Andrew's the smartest guy ever, and
I
he's
think
making things work,
what
even
you
though they
mean
break.
to say is normally it's actually our fault. Welcome to The Scrimmage.
I'm Daniel Hargrove.
I'm
That's
Justin
why.
Domashevitz,
Yeah.
and our trusty producer, Andrew Gross,
Has
is
just
here
been
with
hit
us.
by the bus that we threw him under. Sorry. But yeah, we've got a lot to talk about today because we have many weeks of, not many weeks, we have multiple basketball games that have been going on. We've got wrestling. We've got all sorts of stuff to talk about. We've even got some powerlifting that we were let know about as well.
Yes.
So many good stuff.
So many good stuff.
So
and-
many good stuff.
And we're going to have a couple of interviews with local coaches later
Yes.
in the show. And hopefully I will be at it.
Really? Ooh.
I want to be there.
You want to be there?
Yeah.
Okay. I would like you to be there.
I'm going to try my best.
Is that the game you were just talking about?
What were you talking about?
I was talking about when I cover the Montesano team, or the Montesano basketball game later in the year.
Oh.
I was like, hey, because I assumed you'd be there. But I would love to have you tomorrow,
I
too.
want to come to the Aberdeen Hoquiam game.
Okay.
I want to. Sometimes work gets in the way of things that I want to do.
Work gets in the way of some things I want to do, too. Like
Yeah.
most of it.
Work is lame.
Yeah.
You should skip it whenever possible.
I agree. 100%.
Let's get
And-
it going
That's what I was going to say.
with
The 2-minute drill.
Let's go, huddle up. Gotta hurry. Hey, 2-minute situation, 44 seconds, hand the ball around. Gonna do it right. 3 jet Buckeye, don't worry.
The 2-minute drill starts now.
Oh my gosh, I just got another notification about the whole DK thing. Anyway,
We'll
more
talk
on that
about
later.
after this.
LeBron James and the Los Angeles Lakers took home the first NBA in-season tournament title with a win over the Indiana Pacers on Saturday. LeBron was named the tourney MVP. Justin, how much does this matter?
It matters because all except the title game count as wins in the regular season record. It matters because it engaged a lot of fans, and the media actually got kind of excited about it. But it matters more because the players proved it matters. It mattered to them not only to go out there and win games that were working towards a trophy, but also there was huge excitement about the cash prize, which was $500,000 a player for the guys at the end of the bench. You got stars who are making way more than that, but there's guys on the team that don't make that kind of like big, huge, multi-million-dollar contracts.
Yeah.
And the big players on the team were excited to help win that for those guys.
This just in, pro athletes like trophies and money.
There you go. It matters. It matters more than a lot of people predicted that it would. And also now LeBron has a trophy that Michael Jordan doesn't have. DK Metcalf was ejected from the Seahawks game today. Daniel, is this another in a long line of DK outbursts?
I mean, kind of, but this one is not his fault. He normal tackled somebody, which yet again, that was the notification I got, is Fred reacts to being suplexed by Metcalf. Go watch that. Tell me it's a suplex, and I'll tell you you're blind or you don't know what a suplex is. He just tackled him, swung him to the side. That's not what a suplex is. And then Warner comes up from behind him like a coward and smunches down on his head and then runs away like a coward.
Definitely smudged him.
It was It was horrible. And I've called out DK when he's been the dum-dum and when he's been the coward for hitting somebody in the back. This situation is not one of those things. Stop it. Just because somebody's got a rep doesn't mean that that's the story of what currently happened. And what currently happened is Warner's a punk and went after him and is totally skating on all of this, and it's a load of crap. The Washington Huskies took down the Gonzaga Bulldogs 78-73. What? In men's college basketball on Saturday. Justin, how big of a surprise is this upset?
Well, I lost $20 on this game because
Who'd you bet $20?
I was talking to my high school age son, my older son, who's a senior, and he looked at the schedule and said, "Oh, that's going to be a good win for the Huskies." And I said, "I'll give you $20 if that happens." And he said, "Well, I'm not putting up $20." And I said, 20-1 odds. You give me $1 if Gonzaga wins. Then the Huskies won, and I had to give him $20.
Wow.
This is a surprise, but it's also kind of a big deal. And the Huskies might be okay. They're 6-3 on the season. Their only losses are to good teams. Their offense is averaging about 85 points a game. Their best player is Keon Brooks. He's at about 20 points per game, 8 rebounds, and shooting over 50% from the field. This might be a pretty decent Washington Huskies basketball team. It remains to be seen.
It's been a while.
Yeah. Oregon State's top 2 quarterbacks are transferring along with other players after Coach Smith abandoned the program.
Understatement.
Daniel, you wrote it.
I know.
Daniel, will the Beavers have a shot to beat Notre Dame in their bowl game playing shorthanded?
I honestly don't know. I do know that the quarterback who will be starting for him, Ben Gulbranson, actually was the MVP of their...
What's the name?
Ben Gulbranson, I think?
That sounds made up.
It does.
Yeah.
He was their quarterback and the MVP of their last bowl game. So at least it's somebody who's done it before.
Okay.
Basically, I threw this question in just to make sure that Francis knew how shorthanded we were, because he's already talking smack about the Notre Dame-Oregon State game.
Yeah.
And I'm like, dude, half of our team's gone into the transfer portal because our coach left.
Yeah.
So I just wanted to remind him yet again.
Why does the transfer portal open before the end of the season?
Right? Like, all of our players are like, yeah, we're not going to be playing for this college, so we're not going to play in the bowl game. And I'm like, bro!
Just another way to devalue the meaning of the bowl game.
Seriously. It's insane. So basically there's going to be one team at full or mostly full strength in Notre Dame, and then Oregon State, who's in the middle of, like, the biggest turmoil of transition you could possibly have.
I heard there was a guy from some... I wish I could remember who it was. There's a guy from some football team who's transferring to Notre Dame to play lacrosse.
What?
Isn't that interesting? I'll have to look up the details of that.
Weird.
Yeah.
I also heard that apparently there's a Husky that has been ineligible for some reason due to the NCAA, like, all year from his transfer, but now he's been approved, so they're going to get, like, this stud defensive lineman in time for the college football playoff.
Nice.
Yeah. I was listening to Brock and
Are
Salk
we
the other
rooting
day.
for the Huskies? I think we're rooting for the Huskies.
You know, as much as I didn't want to,
I am.
I am.
I'm going
because
to be mad no matter what happens.
Well, yeah. Understandable, especially from the Coug perspective.
Yeah. Andrew's
but
a true Coug. You're a half Coug.
I'm a half Coug.
I'm about like a 1/8 of a Coug because
Yeah.
I root for the Cougs only because of you guys.
Right.
And Ian.
Yes. But, I mean, look at the other options. Like, who are you rooting for if you're not rooting for UW?
No, none of these teams.
Michigan?
No, the team that...
Alabama?
Yeah.
Texas?
Texas is the only even remotely.
Right.
I would have never dreamed of rooting for Texas if they weren't playing against Alabama or this version of Michigan.
Yeah, no,
which
that's
with
exactly
Harbaugh
right.
has become the team that I despise the most.
Right? Yeah. I used to kind of like Michigan because
I've been
their
neutral
uniforms
on
are
them.
kind of cool.
Yeah.
Like, the helmets I've always thought were cool. But that's about
They're
it.
fine.
Should we have had a question about Shohei in here? I should have written
No.
one about that instead of the Beavers.
Who? Don't know what you're talking about.
I'm sad. I am saddened. I am saddened by what I expected to happen happening.
Okay,
This is what I thought would happen.
5 minutes of Mariner talk. Hey Siri, set a 5-minute timer.
Are we good?
Yep.
Did she set it?
Yep.
Is it going?
It's going.
If the Mariners don't do something really quick and impactful that upgrades their team from what they were last year, not just from what they are now, because they have downgraded since the season, then we as fans should literally set up picket lines around the stadium and not let people in to buy tickets this year. Like, this is bad.
Yeah, I'm getting emotional, not going to lie.
Stop it. I'm not getting emotional.
A little bit.
Might be overreacting. But
No, I'm not.
They've cut salary, and you know what? They've done depending on what comes next, you can understand it. Okay? Gino, getting older, struck out a lot. Teo strikes out a ton. Did not have a good year.
And he's going to be expensive.
And it didn't seem like he wanted to come back anyway. And Jared Kelnick struck out a lot. You seem to give him a bunch of chances.
Doesn't like the organization.
So while it seems like they're selling a little low on Kelnick, they were still able to get the Braves' number 7 prospect back. Like, when I first saw the trade, I was like, are you freaking kidding me? We got a major league pitcher who's garbage and some minor league pitcher. Great. Well, they also took the salaries of Marco Gonzalez and Evan White, which were big, and we got a good prospect pitcher. So I'm like, okay.
But it's a future move.
It's
not a now move, and I wanted now moves.
Yes. That's why if they don't start making now moves, then we revolt.
Yes.
The first now move that could have happened was Shohei. Mm-hmm. He goes to the Dodgers. That's kind of
Soto.
That was the expectation. Soto was also a now move, but geez, the Yankees traded a lot, but also not very many high talent pitchers. But they traded a bunch of people, so that one's I would have liked Soto, but again, that's also 1 year of Soto.
Yeah,
that that Scott Boras is gonna demand a king's ransom or a Shohei ransom for Soto next year. Maybe not that much, but a lot. So let's put out hypothetical here. These are some names that have been attached to the Mariners. Mm-hmm. If they do these things, I will be okay with what they've done so far. If they trade for Randy Arozarena and Paredes from Tampa, which upgrades your outfield from Kelnick and your third base from Gino, and then they sign Blake Snell to fill in the void of whichever young pitcher they had to give up to Tampa, because that would be at least Wu or Miller, if not both, then I think I'm okay with it. I would like them to add at least one more bat on top of that, but I think I would be okay with that.
For me, all indications are, based on not only the moves that you're seeing them make, but the inside information and sourcing that's coming out of the organization, is not we're clearing room to make a big push. It's we're clearing room because our owner is a Porzy and they gave us a budget that we need to cut payroll.
Right. So here's the thing. They've cut a ton of payroll.
Yeah.
Arozarena and Paredes, I believe, are still before arbitration. So they're stupid cheap. And then Blake Snell, while he would be expensive, they've cut a ton of payroll, and he has said multiple times publicly that he wants to pitch for the Mariners.
Right. I thought they were going to get him last time.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So you know that he's not going to be as high priced as he is.
Yeah.
Or as he could be.
Andrew, 1 minute. Your Mariners thoughts.
Yeah.
I don't like it.
I don't like it.
Oh, you didn't even take the minute. Daniel, you can have the last 50 seconds.
So that's where I'm at. If they improve the team from here on out, and we think that it's got a good shot to be better than last year, then I'm fine. If they don't, then set up a fence around T-Mobile and don't let people in, because it's brutal.
Yeah.
We suffered through a rebuild, a full-on tear it down to the studs rebuild.
Yeah.
And if we don't get to see them go for it at the end of it when they should be, then we should almost burn the place down.
Because it appeared to be a successful rebuild.
Yeah,
and you're
that's
now at the part of the rebuild where you make your push. So that's why I was pissed when they traded Gino, and not so much with Teoscar, because I was like, he's going to be really expensive. He wasn't as good as we hoped he would be.
Right.
But they traded Gino and JK, and they both still had value. They traded them for not now players, but future players. Oh, there we go.
Yeah.
All right, Mariners talk is over.
You're right. They did not get good return, especially for Gino. That's the one I don't get. They got an old bag of Fritos.
Let's talk about DK Metcalf.
Let's talk about DK Metcalf.
You and I talked about this on the way out here.
Yes.
We also got some of your thoughts in the 2-minute drill.
Right.
I really want to know what Andrew thinks about this.
I only saw it replayed once. It looked to me like DK finished the tackle in a way that would probably be a penalty.
But that he wasn't even
But-
penaltied for that. Penaltied.
I think he was.
wasn't
They
even.
threw the-
He wasn't penalized for that.
That's-
Really?
Well,
They threw
I-
the flag while he was tackling him.
Oh, okay.
the
So maybe he
flag
was.
I thought that the flag was for an illegal forward pass.
Me too.
Oh, that might
But
be
they
it.
never called that.
I didn't watch the
That's-
game. I only watched
And
the
even
clips of
even
the ejection. So.
even Dean Blandino was like, "What I think got
It-
lost in this was I thought there was an illegal forward pass that was flagged
Yeah,
there."
I heard that as well.
yeah.
got you.
But there was a
It
flag
looked
at
like-
the time.
It looked like I would have been mad at DK for tackling my teammate like that because it looked like he flipped him. Not like it was a horrible person type tackle, but like I would have been like, hey, what the heck, man? And then all hell broke loose, and somehow DK. I thought DK. I was afraid that he was going to rip his helmet off when because
Right.
he grabbed him by the face mask, and I was like, oh no.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then
And then he didn't
let
do
go,
anything.
and I was
Didn't
like,
go all Miles Garrett.
I was
on him.
like,
Yeah.
wow, DK, like good job.
Right.
And then I don't really have. I thought that it was DK successfully not
Going full
going
DK.
ballistic.
yeah,
Yeah. I agree.
I thought the same.
I will say that the Seahawks were losing, and so it's hard. Like there
And
could
DK had
definitely have
already
been
thrown a
things
set.
being said that made it worse from on the field. Like if you told me that the Seahawks were poor losers, I'd be like, no, what?
Yeah.
Like
yeah.
we know that they're poor losers.
That's kind of a Pete Carroll.
It is.
Well, and DK
thing.
had already done the smash the helmet warmer thing on the sideline and shatter it.
Which, by the way, like, yeah, is it kind of a throwing the fit thing? And could he also make the argument that, look, I was just putting it down forcefully and I missed? He could make that argument. He's so freaking strong. That
Yeah.
thing obliterated.
Yeah, it did.
Holy
It
crap.
shattered.
Plus,
Yeah.
you don't have to be trying to break it to slam your helmet down as hard as you can and then
Yeah.
realize that was stupid.
Yep.
So my number one issue is, and I admit I did not watch the game. I was at my son's football banquet for virtually the whole game.
Right.
But I knew from our text group thread that DK had been ejected and something bad happened.
Right.
So when I got home, the first thing I did was look up the video of what happened, and I watched it many times.
Yes.
I Googled Seahawks Metcalf ejection, and I came up with 20 headlines which said that Metcalf suplexed Warner. That was not a suplex.
No.
A suplex is when you pull someone over the top of your head with the center of gravity, where
Like
you're using
directly
your
over the
leverage
back,
to pull
yeah.
them directly over your back to slam their head, neck, shoulders into the ground.
Right.
He started pulling back and he turned. And
Yeah.
actually, it would have been shoulder, but Warner got his arm down, so it was like elbow, shoulder on the ground.
Right.
He didn't tackle him in a way
I would have called it a dump rather. Like I would, watching it, I thought, oh, he dumped him. Like
I
he
thought it
lifted
looked
him
like
up and tipped over.
I thought it looked like this is the way a strong guy tackles someone from behind when they didn't get low.
Right.
Like,
yeah.
you have a hold of him, what are you supposed to do?
Yeah.
He turned him and he threw him on the ground.
Exactly.
Warner pitched the ball.
And
DK
I-
didn't know he pitched the ball.
Yeah.
He said after the game he didn't know he pitched the ball.
Yeah.
And then Warner, after DK was
Because
on
also, why would you pitch the ball in that
Yeah,
situation?
that was stupid.
That whole
Forward.
sequence was dumb.
then DK was on the ground, not facing Warner,
Yeah.
and he ran up behind him and hit him from behind.
Yeah.
So DK did not start that. He made a play
Yes.
that I would have thought I would not be I would have not been pissed off if DK tackled my teammate that way. That is the way that I would think someone his size with bad leverage would tackle someone from behind.
How you might expect somebody who's not used to tackling people would tackle
That's
somebody.
Exactly.
I would say that is accurate, and I want to be clear. Watching it, if the other guy would have got up in DK's face, just like got up in his face,
Yeah.
I would have been like, he's mad about how getting tackled.
Yeah.
Like I would have thought it was an appropriate reaction.
And
within
instead, Warner
within-
hit him from behind and ran away like a
Yes.
coward. And then when DK came over and again, I'll say he should not have done this. He should not have run up to him
Right.
and grabbed his face mask. He didn't even really shove him. It was like a get off me thing.
Yeah.
And I thought, okay, he showed restraint. He didn't do something that's intentionally going to harm someone, but he
Right.
shouldn't have done it.
No,
and
he
he
shouldn't
should have been flagged for a personal foul for that.
Yes.
He shouldn't have been ejected, and Warner should have also been flagged for a personal foul for being a stupid, douchey coward
Yeah.
who ran up from behind and hit someone in the back of the head or shoulders when they were on the ground,
Right.
and then running away.
Yeah. And I don't think the other guy should have been ejected either. I think he also probably should have gotten a flag because he ran up and like two-hand pushed DK during the thing.
Yeah.
While DK wasn't looking, which again, dude, one thing that I want to make sure that kids learn is you don't attack somebody who's not looking.
Yes.
In what world is this okay? At any level, any age, any whatever, if somebody's not looking, hitting them is like next level horrible.
It doesn't
Seems
make
like
you
that's
tough.
the safest time, Daniel.
Yeah, exactly. You're
And
right.
I imagine Fred Warner fancies himself a tough guy.
Well, he's a middle linebacker and he's massive.
That was not tough guy stuff.
No.
That was coward stuff.
It was weak. Remember what I went after DK earlier in the year because he did a similar thing. He hit somebody. No, it wasn't as bad because the guy was standing up and he didn't smunch him into the ground.
Swunch.
But he
Two times with that
he
word.
he pushed somebody from behind, and I was like, okay, that's not okay.
Yeah.
If somebody's not looking, you don't attack them or hit them or Frank Clark them or whatever.
Well,
you don't do it.
Like, especially when they're not in the play.
Right.
That one you're describing, too, that guy was on the complete opposite side of the field. This
Right.
time, DK's on the ground
And
behind the play.
Yeah, and he's not trying to do anything,
No.
and the play's running. Yeah, it was ridiculous. We got some comments. Daniel says that he hates the situation for Oregon State. Can't fault the players at all. The conference craziness, added coach loss. Yeah, absolutely. I can't fault the players for losing
Agreed.
either.
Also, I'm still mad at him.
As a Washington, expat, I just root against U of O and the 49ers. Other than that, I just want them all to win. Francis
who to
says
all of them?
all of them.
All the teams.
Yeah.
Daniel wants all the teams
to win. I just remember against U of O and the Niners. Other than that, okay. As long as he's not, he just doesn't like Oregon and he doesn't like the Niners. Other than that, he likes winners.
Okay.
Francis says more like DA Metcalf at this point. Is that
DA.
stand for dumb
Dumb
butt? Dumb butt.
Dumb tush.
And then he says, P.S. my Niners and Cowboys because he's way worse than you. And every team that
Is he claiming the Niners, though?
every team that is a rival of a team that we like is now Francis's team. I think that's how it works.
That's how he chooses.
Yeah, that's how he chooses teams.
Okay.
And he says they're destined for the NFC title game. Yeah, I mean, them and Philadelphia maybe. Then he says, Justin, you show better restraint at a buffet than DK does.
No, I do not show restraint at buffets, my guy.
Especially if it's Hawaiian food. Then he
Give me some
says,
Kahlua
wrong.
pig.
Best time to attack is when they
Loco
aren't
Moco.
looking. Sun Tzu, Art of War.
Chicken katsu. I'm hungry now.
I'm hungry too. Affirmative on the butt. Okay, so we've caught up with our comments here.
Dude.
What?
You know, we made a mistake here today.
We did?
And we didn't have time.
Uh-oh.
But did you know Big Moon Barbecue posted a thing on Facebook that said,
No.
we're way overstocked on meat. We're
Are
going to
you-
cook everything and sell it at half price.
What?
There
You
were-
saw this
there
and
were-
you didn't tell me about it?
There were $3 pulled pork sandwiches. Free plug for Big Moon Barbecue, by the way.
Bruh.
$6 brisket sandwiches.
You're a bad friend.
Yeah.
How did you not instantly send that to me and go, dude, we're getting Big Moons right now?
I wanted to, but then I knew I couldn't have it because I didn't have time, and
Why
I
can't
didn't
you
want
have
you
it?
to have it if I couldn't have it.
Why couldn't you have it?
I was busy all day. There was church in the morning. I came home, got ready for the show.
I
went
would
to the
have gotten
football.
it for you.
I didn't think about that.
I love Big Moons. Oh man! All right, I think it's time we move on because we got to move on quickly. We got interviews that we have. to
Yeah,
get
we
to
do, and
eventually.
we're gonna do the local sports roundup.
Right.
So let's say on the other side of this break, we're
No,
gonna
wait.
do.
We have to do your favorite part of the show.
Oh yeah, you're right.
Do you
My
have
favorite-
it, or
yeah,
should
I
we
do.
skip it?
No,
okay.
I have it. I just forgot. Thank
All right,
you.
quickly.
My favorite
we
part.
are doing.
Yes.
Yeah, my favorite part of the show. Sorry, Andrew.
Serving questions up on a silver platter where the points are made up and the rules don't matter. Time for Stump Daniel.
Common Justin L. Sorry about that.
Francis says nothing better than some Big Moon in the face.
Okay. Francis, if that's your thing, I'm not going to judge you. Daniel, in light of DK Metcalf's ejection,
Yes.
it reminded me of another Seahawks game
Okay.
in which some players were ejected.
What? That's never happened before.
In 2017,
Yeah.
a scuffle ensued.
Michael Bennett. Sorry.
A scuffle ensued when a Seahawks player went down low at the knees of an offensive lineman when
they're
Blake
trying to
Bortles
kneel
was
it.
just trying to kneel out the clock.
I was thinking of the same game.
2 Seahawks players were ejected
Right. Oh, what
at
was
the
that
end
other
of that game. Nobody was suspended, but 2 players were ejected in the last minute. Like, who cares?
I know.
Crap, I can't remember the other
pretty
guy's
sure.
name.
Daniel, who was the first player who was ejected for going at the knees of the offensive player?
Michael Bennett.
That is correct. You're 1 for 1. The other one was
Can I say that I
also-
preemptively got that, by the way, too?
Good job. You should get a bonus point for that.
I
You're
should.
2 for 1.
Yes.
Daniel, who was the other player who got ejected? And this player got ejected not for something that happened in the play, but he got ejected for throwing a punch during the scuffle that ensued.
Oh, crap.
How many bonus points do I get if I get it?
100.
I'm pretty sure I know this.
Wasn't there also somebody who, like, in that game, like, went, like, tried to punch a fan or something on the way out, or... That was a rough game. That is the start of, like, Seahawks poor losers.
Oh, hang on a second.
Uh-oh.
I made a mistake.
Uh-oh.
Michael Bennett was not ejected from this.
Oh, but was he the guy who went low?
He's the guy who went low.
Okay,
2
yeah.
players were ejected
I can't remember.
in the fight afterwards. And also, Pete Carroll was called for unsportsmanlike conduct because he came out onto the field during the fight.
He came out on the field during today's fight, too, and he didn't get called
Okay,
for it.
so I take it back, Daniel. You only get 1 point.
Okay.
Because you preemptively got it right, but you also got it wrong.
Right.
So
'cause
you're
he
1
wasn't-
for 1.
Yeah. Dude, I don't know. So I'm gonna go with. Just dropped the blitz ball.
Wait. He didn't get anything right if he guessed Michael Bennett and Michael Bennett wasn't ejected.
Well,
but he
he
got it
said that
preemptively.
Michael Bennett was the guy who went low.
Yeah, he
and-
preemptively got it right, but then he got it wrong, so he gets 1 point.
Oh, okay.
But
okay.
you said that he went low, and
Yeah, he
he was
did.
the guy who went low. He
Uh-huh.
just wasn't ejected for
Yeah.
it. So you incorrectly asked the question.
I'm giving you a point.
I know.
Why
I was
are you attacking me?
I'm sorry, Andrew. I feel bad. But Andrew should feel worse. I'm gonna just throw out some random defensive lineman names. I'm gonna say Red Bryant. And gosh, I can picture the dude, but I can't for the life of me remember his name. But I think he was a defensive tackle. But I don't think it was Brandyn Brooks, and I don't think it was Al Woods.
It was one of these guys. Actually, both of them are defensive tackles.
Are they? Gosh, dang it.
Yeah.
But I don't think it was Brandyn Brooks. Who was our other Sinclair. Something Sinclair. McDaniel. Dang it. Okay, who was it?
Andrew.
My pick?
Andrew.
Yeah, Andrew, what's
It's
your pick?
Bruce.
Nope.
Wasn't it?
It wasn't Bruce Irvin.
That wasn't the Bruce. No.
No, that was just Bruce tackling somebody out of bounds.
Oh, I thought that was when he
Bruce
threw
was-
a punch after.
No, I'm pretty I'm not sure.
I thought.
I'm
that's how I
75
remembered it.
I'm 75% sure that the Bruce no was a late hit out of bounds.
You guys are all horribly wrong. The
Sounds
correct
right.
answer was Sheldon Richardson
What a dummy.
and Quentin Jefferson.
That's who I was trying to remember. Quentin Jefferson. That's who I can picture because he also got like upset with fans on his way out of the stadium.
From the Jaguars, Leonard Fournette also was called for an unsportsmanlike conduct
Fournette.
in that scuffle. Anyway, I'm sorry that I got that wrong. I made a mistake.
And Michael Bennett started it.
Embarrassed about it? Yeah, I did. But like I said, we have local sports to talk about. So what we're going to do is we're going to take a break. And then on the other side of that, we're going to do local sports roundup.
Oh my gosh.
And then we're going to get Hoquiam
Right
boys.
before that, I'm sorry, the long snapper for the Niners. So the third least, like there's the kicker, the punter, and the long snapper. Those are the 3 least likely guys who should be talking smack. He, in sign language, clapped back at DK Metcalf in sign language, saying 14 effed around and found out. Who are you to say anything? And what did he find out? He
found
got
out that
smunched
you're
from
giddy
behind by a coward.
3 times with the word
I
sponge.
Gosh, the
I-
Niners are the worst, and I hope that they lose 9 in a row. I
I
was gonna
still
say worse
want-
things,
I
but
still
gosh,
that.
I thought you were
What?
gonna wish death upon him.
if karma is a thing, it needs to smack the Niners in the face because this is horrible. What is coming out of this? And the long snapper? Who the heck are you?
He's the only guy on the team that has the time to learn sign language just to clap back at DK in sign language. Daniel.
Jeez, a long snapper.
Now that we've made fun of long snappers, we're
Goodness gracious.
We're going to take a commercial break. We're going to have a local sports roundup. Then we're going to talk to 2 coaches, Hoquiam boys basketball coach Jeff Niemi. and
Neither of them
Aberdeen
long snappers.
boys basketball coach Brandyn Brooks. But before we do that, quick commercial break. Do you have a legal situation and need someone on your side? Let the law office of Jeffrey A. Domashevitz be your advocate. If you've been the victim of medical malpractice, suffered a personal injury, or need representation with real estate law, small business law, or estate planning, let Jeff Domashevitz put his 29 years of experience to work for you. Call Jeff Domashevitz today at 360-612-3991 or visit domashevitzlaw.com. That's DAMASIEWICZLAW.com.
Thank you to our sponsors, the Law Office of Jeffrey A. Domashevitz and Spivey Realty Group. We are very grateful that you help us do what we do. I thought you were going to add something in there, but
No.
that's all right.
I don't intend on helping much today.
Okay,
I'm
that's
going to
okay.
be unhelpful.
Well, you've helped enough as it is.
Okay.
You've put in the hard legwork. By the way, Rob, who is a Niners fan, said, "Wow, Daniel, really? Did you watch the game?" Like, Rob, I know you're a Niners fan, but
Rob, can you jump
come
into
on.
the YouTube chat and tell us why you think that Fred Warner was right and DK was wrong?
seriously,
Like, I want you to do it in the YouTube chat so that it's public and people can make fun of you. But before that happens, we'll make fun of Rob later. Let's do the local sports roundup.
Okay. Oh, you caught Andrew right when he was drinking.
Roundup.
Doo-ga-doo-ga-doo-ga-doo-ga-doo.
Montesano boys basketball team continued its impressive start to the season on Tuesday with a 69-43 home opening win over Centralia. The Bulldogs led 28-20 at the half, then won the third quarter 28-3. It was a lot of full court press, steals, and layups. It was pretty fun to watch. Standout junior exchange student DeLon Chan scored 16 of his game high 24 points.
He's
in
only
that
a
third
junior?
frame. Yeah.
Huh.
Chan also had 4 steals in the game. Gabe Bodwell chipped in 10 points, while Jackson Wilson recorded 10 points, 5 rebounds, and 4 assists. Monty improved to 3-1 with the win and will be back in action on Wednesday at Castle Rock, then Friday at Columbia White Salmon. Ugh, too far.
Elma's boys basketball team improved to 3-2 with a 67-53 win over the Spork Spartans on Saturday. Kaysen Seaberg led all scorers with 21 points. AJ Holmes added 15 and 12 rebounds with the double-dub for the Eagles.
Willapa Valley picked up its first win of the boys' basketball season on Tuesday, 48-42 at Columbia Adventist. Nathan Fluke led the Vikings with 16 points and 9 rebounds. Valley won again on Thursday in Menlo, 57-44 over PL. Fluke and Hank Swartz each scored 19 points. Fluke added 4 assists, 3 steals, and Swartz pulled down 11 boards.
Raymond's boys basketball team beat Ocosta 52-42 on Wednesday in Raymond. Chris Quintana scored 21 points for the Seagulls while also dishing out 7 assists and pulling down 5 rebounds. Ocosta's Taryn Lewis scored a game-high 23 points to go along with 13 rebounds. On Saturday, Raymond faced Aberdeen for the first time since the 60s. Wait, that was the first time they played against each other since the 60s?
Yeah,
Oh,
it's like 64, 65.
gotcha. They earned a 47-42 win. Quintana led all scorers with 23 points, and Talon Yearout scored from a month out. I'm just kidding. Scored 13 points and pulled down 13 rebounds for the Seagulls. Manny Garcia led the Bobcats with 14 points. Baylor Ainsworth added 10. That makes a lot more sense. I saw somebody post that it was the first time they had beaten Aberdeen since the 60s.
Yeah.
And I was like, wow, that's impressive. But they just haven't played each other since the 60s. Gotcha.
Going quickly back to Acosta boys hoops, the Wildcats bounced back from Wednesday's loss with a 47-46 home win over North Beach on Friday. Taryn Lewis led the Wildcats with 16 points, 8 rebounds, and 5 steals. Michael Priest and Jesus Agramon Rosas
Wow, that is a very religious grouping there.
each added 10 points for Acosta. Jade Charlie scored a game-high 19 points for the Hayaks.
I botched that. I could have come up with something way better. Augusta's girls basketball team took down Chief Leshai 53-47 on Thursday. Anna Davis led the Wildcats with 18 points and 16 rebounds. Bristol Toll recorded 15 points, 4 assists, and 3 steals. And Alexia Bradley added 13 points and 10 boards.
Hoquiam Lady Hoopers improved to 2-2 on the season with a 50-23 home win over North Beach on Thursday. Caitlin Broadhead had 10 points, 6 assists, and 5 steals for the Grizzlies. Sydney Gordon recorded a double-double with 16 points and 16 rebounds. Tahola hosted Hoquiam on Friday, and the Chitwins improved 2-0 with a 50-15 win.
Wow.
Sorry, no further details available from that game.
Hoquiam's boys basketball team improved to 3-0 to start the season with a 71-31 win over North Beach on Thursday. Lincoln Niemi continued an impressive start to his varsity career with 22 points, 6 rebounds, and 4 assists. Xander Jump pitched in 12 points, 5 steals, and 3 dishes. The Grizzlies did unfortunately lose 2 straight games on Friday and Saturday to Lake Roosevelt and Omak to drop 2-3 and 2. Joey Bozich led Hoquiam with 15 points in the loss to Lake Roosevelt, and Jump led with 19 points against Omak. The Grizzlies will make the short trip to Aberdeen tomorrow for their 4th game in 5 days. Wow, that's a lot.
Yeah.
I will be there to broadcast the game on 1490 KWOK and 1490KWOK.com.
You almost read Daniel will be
Yeah,
there.
it was really close. I almost burgundied that.
Speaking of Aberdeen's boys basketball team, the Bobcats picked up their first win of the season on Thursday, 57-53 over Centralia. Jacob Quizada, I hope I said that right, Jacob Quizada scored a game-high 24 points for Aberdeen, and Baylor Ainsworth scored 18. Manny Garcia added 13 for the Bobcats.
Aberdeen girls basketball team improved to 4-1 with a 78-53 win over Centralia on Friday. Annie Troe scored a game-high 23 points for the Bobcats. Bentley Brown added 16 points, and Zoe Troe chipped in 11 points, 6 steals, and 6 rebounds. Andrew, by the way, you should be sending a Zoom link to somebody right now. If you haven't already, just a little reminder there.
Willapa Valley's girls basketball team improved to 3-1 with a 37-25 home win over PL on Thursday. 8th grade guard Tyler Keaton led the Vikings with 9 points. Valley notched another victory on Saturday, 40-28 over Acosta. Viking junior Addison Myrtle led all scorers with 18 points, shooting 7 for 11 from the field and 4 for 6 from beyond the arc. Alexia Bradley led the Wildcats with 12 points.
Aberdeen's boys swim team lost to Shelton 95-76 on Tuesday. Tyler Bates took first in the 50 freestyle for the Bobcats and was part of the winning 200 freestyle relay team. Aberdeen had a good day at the Mark Morris Sprint Pentathlon on Saturday. The Bobcats finished 3rd overall as a team. Bates finished 7th overall in individual point totals. According to head coach Rob Burns, resident Niners fan, Tyson Powell had a great day in the distance events, and Denny Linker and Jacob Halleck had good time drops and competitive swims.
And this will conclude the local sports roundup, and I would like to just very briefly issue an apology to the Aberdeen swim team and Rob Burns. Rob sent me full results, and I fully intended to dig through all of them and talk about who placed what in what events, and I simply ran out of time. I literally worked on the local sports roundup until the minute I had to leave for my son's football banquet, and I just ran out of time. But we got in the names that I think he thought were most important to get in.
I'll take the blame on that.
We will continue, as Rob sends us information, we will continue to make sure that Aberdeen's boys swim team has some recognition.
I'm the weak link on this team. I'll take the heat for that.
For what? What are you, the wink Lincoln?
I don't do as much as you do. So I could have chipped in and done some stuff.
Well,
but instead I was hanging out with toddlers.
You did more on this show sheet than you usually do. But also, you were wrist deep in poopy.
There's lots of poop.
So when you're wrist deep in poopy,
I didn't even tell you that there was a blowout of my other child.
Oh boy.
Yeah, so there's more poopy than you know about.
Wow.
Yeah.
Twice as much poopy?
Lots as much.
Oh my
Lots as
gosh.
much? Twice as much.
Well, lots as much sounds
Buzz Scott
like more
says
than twice as much.
21-8 foul differential. Is that in one of the Aberdeen games?
I would assume so if Buzz is saying it, but I don't know.
Would that be the
Maybe the Raymond
boys
game? Maybe the Raymond game. I heard
Or-
that, we can ask
Or was
Coach
that the
Brooks when he
Centralia
comes
game?
on.
Yeah.
We can ask Coach Brooks when he comes on because that Raymond game, it looked like from reading the article that it really went down to the wire, and that was like decided in the final second.
Gotcha.
So we will at some point, hopefully very soon, have Hoquiam coach Jeff Niemi on, and in the meantime, Daniel.
Should I do a commercial?
No,
commercial break?
I was going to
No?
say you should talk about this upcoming matchup that we have and the reason why we're having Jeff Niemi and Brandyn Brooks on.
Right. So we have the Myrtle Street rivalry game on tomorrow for our Buzz says it was the Raymond game.
Okay.
Huge foul differential
Yeah.
there. We have the Myrtle Street rivalry boys game tomorrow. We would have had the girls game as our first game of the broadcast season, but that got preempted by the Pac-12 championship. So if you're an Aberdeen or Hoquiam girls fan, blame the Huskies for making the Pac-12 championship, and blame the Beavers and the Cougs for not disqualifying both of them from the title game, because that's really what should have happened.
There's still legal proceedings.
Dang it! So they didn't actually have the power to do it.
Yeah.
Okay. Anyway, I'm super excited about this matchup. I always love the Myrtle Street games. Until someone tells me otherwise, I'm going to put all 4 of them on the schedule every year. Again, like I said, the first one got preempted, but this is an intriguing Hoquiam team that I think has some great athletes, and then also Lincoln, who has had some really impressive scoring outputs. So I'm really curious to watch him play for the first time. And then for Aberdeen, I'm really curious to see who's filling the different roles that we need to be checking out when I watch this matchup. It looks like there's a couple of guys who are already starting to distance themselves or distinguish themselves as the players to watch. I've never seen Jacob Quezada play, but to see that he put up 24 points in a game,
Yeah.
he's definitely going to be somebody to watch.
That's not a name I'm familiar with.
If it
wasn't a Garcia or Baylor Ainsworth,
Yeah.
I'm not sure I was ready for someone to put 24 points up.
Exactly. I'm excited to see how Baylor has stepped up his game, and Manny Garcia as well. But this Quezada kid, I'm really excited to learn more about him. So Hoquiam's got, some familiar names from the last few years outside of Lincoln. They got Joey Bozich, who we saw play last year as a freshman, Xander Jump, who's now a senior. We all know his name from other sports that he has played and the part that he played for Hoquiam last year as well. And I'm forgetting their post. Oh, Aiden Butcher. Yeah. Want to see how he's improved from last year as well.
So I haven't watched Hoquiam play yet, but I did get some opinions from my pal Forrest Wargum, who's a local photographer, does a great job.
Right.
Check out his website or his Facebook page, Forrest Wargum Photography. He said he feels like Hoquiam's starting 5 is really good. So take those guys you have and throw Chris Bryson into that. And he's listed as a forward, I believe, but he's a good athlete and can step out and shoot as well.
Okay.
So I know Forrest came away from the game he watched feeling very impressed with the starters for Hoquiam.
Andrew, how we doing? Have we heard anything back on
yeah,
the?
We're
Yeah,
waiting.
Jeff, Coach Niemi texted me and said he'll be on in 1 minute.
Okay.
So we should
60
have him
seconds.
any moment now. And from the
And
Aberdeen side,
having playing for Brian Grun,
Yeah.
and having to run, I think they did this every year, 30 sets of lines in 30 minutes.
yeah.
You
That
should
sounds
know
awful.
what 1 minute would be.
Well,
It was the worst. That
From-
sucked.
from the Aberdeen side, because I have a
Is this one
senior
basketball minute.
basketball player. Yeah, that's 45 minutes. A senior basketball player that's been playing against some of these guys for a long time. I've actually gotten to watch Manny Garcia and Baylor Ainsworth play for quite a while.
Right.
And in
All
junior
right.
high,
Yeah,
I
Mr.
gave
Niemi.
Baylor the nickname Baylor Buckets because he gets buckets.
He does.
And Manny, if you haven't seen him playing, Jeff's with us. Real quick, parting shot on Manny, and we'll talk to Coach Brooks about this as well. Manny has, one of his hands is smaller than the other, but he manages to go out and do amazing things on the court despite that. So I think that's really interesting. But Jeff, can you hear us?
Yep, I can hear you guys.
Awesome. So glad to have you with us. And I think, first off, it will be fun to talk about what happened last week when we had the good fortune of naming your son Lincoln as our athlete of the week for his freshman debut. Huge performance there. And I'm just curious, from Coach Dad, how do you feel like Lincoln has performed so far this season, and how has he been able to deal with the pressure of the expectations coming into it?
Yeah, that's one of the things that I feel like he was pretty prepared for. He has played a lot of basketball, as you guys know. And one thing he's finding out is AAU, very competitive AAU and varsity basketball are two different things. So there's been some learning curve there, but all in all, with what's kind of been expected to him locally, just kind of people knowing him through the years, I think he's done a pretty darn good job.
What is that like? Because I think a lot of us grew up with having our dads be a coach at some point. But is it different to have your son play for you in that dynamic as a varsity basketball coach?
Yeah, I'm kind of learning as I go too here, I've coached Lincoln a lot, especially when he was younger. I was his basketball coach from about 2nd through probably 5th grade. And so we had that youth experience. But then, with the last 4 years, basically 3.5 years, I haven't really coached him besides just working out, of course, in the gym. So it's been a learning curve. But, man, what I'm trying to do is enjoy the moments, I was able to give him a big hug before that last North Beach game and just tell him, hey, man, that's a lot of hard work paying off when you get a WIA Athlete of the Week in your first week.
Yeah.
And so, trying to enjoy those special moments.
Scrimmage Athlete of the Week, I mean.
Yeah, not to mention Scrimmage Athlete of the Week. And he was very excited about both things, so he was happy with that.
Well, I just want you to know that since my rule is that I always take credit for every player I've ever coached at any level. I take credit for everything good they do. And when Lincoln was around 10, I helped out at baseball practices 3 times, I think, when he played for Beehive, I believe. So I just want you to know everything good that Lincoln does in any sport, I will be taking credit for it from here on.
Okay,
but
we'll remember.
Moving on from Lincoln, because we don't want to just heap all the pressure on one guy. And there's a full team, and you got some really good seniors. We want to know from the first 3 games where you rattle off 3 wins. You guys have had a really packed schedule this week, a lot of games in a condensed amount of time, and then you played 2 really tough 1A opponents and came up with a couple of losses. I'm curious just how you feel like your team has done so far. Have they performed the way you expected them to, and what's your read on how they've done so far this season?
Well, to be honest, I thought our first 3 went pretty well. The Valley game was a good win for us. It's been quite a few years since Hoquiam's beat Valley in basketball. We've played quite a bit over the last few years, and they've had our number. I thought we took care of business versus Acosta and North Beach like we should, but I'll tell you guys, this weekend was just absolutely huge for the kids to see that next level of what they're kind of aspiring to be. And we tried to prepare them and tried to talk about the speed and the intensity and the defense they were going to see and the tempo they were going to see. And, for big chunks of time, we really answered the call. And the kids really played hard and well. And so while we went over to, across the mountains and took a couple of losses, I think we'll get a lot out of those.
So, yeah, talk a little bit about some of those matchups, because I recognized OMAC as one of those teams that, I've seen in the state tournament over the last few years. We kind of knew about them, but Lake Roosevelt, I wasn't quite sure. Are they up at that level? Because it seems like, as you mentioned, the speed of the game, it can jump up from level to level. And when I watch basketball over the last few years, it seems like when you get into districts, it steps up. When you get into state, it steps up. Are those some teams that you would expect to be at those higher levels of play?
Well, after talking to a couple local coaches, because Lake Roosevelt's one of the favorites for 2B.
Okay.
Some people think they're the best 2B team in the state. I know there's lots of good teams on the west side, especially in the District 4. It's a very tough 2B is a very tough classification. But they placed last year and pretty much had everybody back.
Gotcha.
And so, and the kids that we're playing have all placed all 3 years.
Wow.
And so it's just that experience really shined through late. but it was another learning lesson. Like, hey, this is what experienced guys do, and that's what we're kind of trying to get to.
And so kind of we won't keep you too much longer here, and we want to talk to Coach Brooks as well, but I want to know your thoughts going into, and this is your you're going into a big rivalry with Aberdeen. You've been in big rivalries with Aberdeen as a player, so I want to know your thoughts on, what are you telling your team? What's important to know, not only from a basketball standpoint, but just from a rivalry standpoint? What are you hoping to see from your guys out there tomorrow?
Well, we do have a couple guys that have played in the game, and I think that always helps because sometimes this game can kind of be really built up in the kids' heads, A lot of them grew up going to this game, and it's kind of a special part of Harbor, sports culture, the Aberdeen Hoquiam rivalry. But the message to me is let's build on the success we had over the weekend, and let's take those lessons learned. And we want to play higher tempo. We know what it looks like. Let's try to shoot for that. But my veterans, Xander Jump and Aiden Butcher, have just been outstanding. And man, they played well this weekend. I'm not sure if you guys saw, but that last game, Xander had 19 points, 9 rebounds, 5 steals, 3 assists against OMAC, who I think will probably be a regional team. So just really cool. And Aiden, of course, has always battled all night. So those guys having that experience, I think will help everybody. But my message is usually the same thing to the guys. Enjoy the moment, man. This is a special game. You just don't get to play in front of, close to 2,000 very often. And enjoy the moment and have fun.
You mentioned Aiden and Xander, and we talked about your son a bit. Who are some of the other kids on this team that I might be looking for tomorrow night to maybe point out some of the little things that they do right, some of the things that can impact the game, even if it's not necessarily on the scoreboard?
Well, Joey Bozich kept us in the games all weekend. He hit 6 threes in the first half against OMAC.
Nice.
They were really helping a lot, on Lincoln and Xander, and we did a great job kicking it out. And Joey got his feet set and hit a bunch of shots. And he had a really good night against Lake Roosevelt too. I believe he had 15 against Lake Roosevelt. So Joey's shooting has been a real key for us because we know we have the good drivers that people will focus on, and so we're trying to share the ball. That's a big one. Chris Bryson played a lot of JV last year. He's grown. He's probably going to surprise some people with how much he's grown. He's about 6'4" now. He's doing a really nice job kind of working into realizing, hey, I'm a big guy now. And he's blocked a lot of shots for us, and he's rebounding pretty hard. So Chris is our other guy that's been starting for us besides the ones I've talked. And after that, Chance LeBounty gave us great minutes over there too. Like I said in the paper, we played 6 guys, and Chance played a ton of quality minutes, super steady. So those would be the guys, and Conlon Higgins has really been playing hard for us too.
Conlon, that's Tiggy's little brother.
Yeah. Timmy was one of our favorite players to watch the last couple of years with the effort that he put out on the defensive side of the floor. So fun to hear his little brother's name as well.
Awesome.
Yeah, nice to have a Higgins still.
Always, yeah. All right, Coach, well, thank you so much for joining us. We're going to let you go on that, and we'll catch up with you at some point later this season when we get into league play.
All right, thank you, guys. Have a good night.
Thanks,
Jeff.
Jeff. All right, and while Andrew's in the transition, he's going to get out of that Zoom, and he's going to send a Zoom link to Coach Brooks, and we'll have him hopefully here with us in a couple of minutes. I'm excited to hear Coach Brooks here talk about Aberdeen because while I'm a little more familiar with Hoquiam, I think because they're in our 1A league.
Right.
And Aberdeen, while I've seen some of these guys, leading up to it, and I see them like once a year, I'm really curious to see what other guys are going to step up besides the guys that I know.
Exactly. Yeah, and I felt like we saw some of that in the football ranks. Mm-hmm. So I'm wondering if the basketball team has some of that as well, and especially, the kid that we mentioned before, Jacob Quezada, game high 24 points.
24 points is a lot.
That's a lot.
I think that early this season we've kind of been spoiled with a lot of 20 plus. Lincoln gave us 42
right off the bat.
DeLon Chan for Monty has given us 3 straight 20 plus point performances.
He's turned.
Kaysen Seberg from Elma has a couple of 20 plus point performances.
Yeah.
We're seeing a lot of 20 plus point performances. That's so hard to say for me. For
20 plus point performances.
20 plus point performances.
That is tough.
I feel like we may be getting spoiled on them early.
Yeah.
but I want to make sure people understand, like 20-plus points in one of these high school basketball games is a lot.
It's a big deal.
Yeah.
I mean, I never did it. I'm just sorry. You were supposed to laugh at that because I wasn't a scorer, so it's not surprising that I never did it.
You didn't score 20 points in that one Aberdeen rivalry game?
No, I did not.
What did you score that game? Like 18?
18, yeah.
Oh, man. So
Yeah.
you're 2 points away from being good.
Yeah, exactly. I know. I did break my brother's single game scoring record, though.
Which was?
16.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Jimmy played basketball?
He played C Squad.
All right, guys, we got Coach Brooks.
Oh, all right. We got Coach Brooks. I wanted to talk about Jimmy C-Squad basketball for a long time, but we will welcome in Aberdeen boys head coach Brandyn Brooks. And thank you, Coach, so much for joining us. Can you hear us okay? We got Coach Brooks. I wanted to talk about Jimmy C-Squad basketball for a long time, but we will welcome in Aberdeen boys head coach Brandyn Brooks.
Yeah, and Coach, if you could turn off the YouTube feed, that would be great.
Hold on 1 second. Okay, can you guys hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
We can hear you. All right, awesome. Thank you so much for joining us.
Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you. We can hear you. We're good. So, first of all, we want to talk about kind of what has happened so far this season. So,
What's happening? Hold on 1 second.
okay.
Making sure we get everything set up correctly here.
And this is kind of like
We make it hard.
Well,
Yeah.
Because we
aren't-
don't have a way
I'm
to
trying to switch to my. Hold on, let me see.
okay, no problem, no problem. This is actually this is sort of par for the course for what we do here. Where like we kind of do things on the fly. We fix things on the fly. Sometimes our producer at the beginning of the show.
Hold on a second, guys.
Okay. Yeah, no problem. Sometimes at the beginning of the show, our producer makes a bad static noise that hurts people's ears.
Hello.
Yeah. There he is.
Yeah, can you hear us?
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, we can hear you.
We can hear you
us?
loud and clear. I think we might be having some technical difficulties.
We
I'm
might
not
be.
sure if he can hear us. We can
Okay.
hear him.
This is probably our fault.
I mean,
I'm not sure what I can do different.
Oh, okay.
okay. Well,
Well,
you could.
let's just blame Andrew and decide that it's Andrew's fault.
Can you shoot? Do you have Coach Brooks's number? Can you shoot him a text
I have,
and ask him if he can hear us? Because we can hear him.
I will do that.
He did reach out on our Facebook comments and said that he was ready for the Zoom link before.
Yeah.
So
And
we
I
have
messaged
connected
him
with
so he'd know it was coming, and
Yep.
he's on. But there's something. You know what? It's really probably the technology. I know technology fails me all the time.
Yes.
It actually failed me just the other day
No.
when I was
How did it
at
fail you?
the Festival of Lights kickoff concert with my wife,
Yeah,
and
that
she
was-
was singing.
That wasn't the technology. That was you.
No, that was the technology.
Sure.
So what had happened was
The way your leg was.
what had happened was my wife was performing at the kickoff concert, and when she was singing songs, I was going on to her Facebook page, Angel Phoenix and the Man. Go check it out on Facebook, and she's got all kinds of good stuff on there. But I was going live from her Facebook page, and as I was,
There we
I can
go.
see Coach Brooks now. Coach Brooks, can you hear us? We'll work on that. Hopefully we can get that figured out, and I'll continue telling the story. While I was going live from her page, just live recording her songs, when we were about 5 seconds into one of the songs, the technology accidentally flipped the camera around, so it wasn't on what was in front of me, but it was on my face. I made facial expressions that started with surprise, and then I will say what my son described as, you looked like you were angry at your phone, which is true. I was, because I felt like my phone had betrayed me. And then after about 3 seconds, I flipped it around, and it was no big deal, and it wasn't even really all that funny. Daniel, did you think it was funny?
I thought it was hilarious. I
will
started
say
sending
this.
it to everybody I knew.
My father...
Oh, there's Coach Brooks.
Yes, we can see him now. Can you hear us, Coach Brooks? And he's frozen. My father, who very rarely calls, not only me, but very rarely calls anyone on the telephone, called me and immediately laughed at me.
I'm glad that he did.
Yeah.
So
Okay, can you guys hear me now?
We can
Yes.
hear
Hear
you.
ya.
Can you hear us?
Yeah, I'm sorry about that, man.
Hey.
My laptop was tripping.
No problem.
No
We're glad
worries,
we
no
got
worries.
you.
So, Coach, I think that the first question I want to ask you is about a name that I hadn't heard before, but a big performance recently was Jacob. Is it Quezada? How do you pronounce his name? And where did this kid come from? Because 24 points is a big time performance.
Well, he's a sophomore this year. His name is Qzada.
Qzada.
Jacob is he's a sophomore this year, so he's a second year in high school. He played on our JV team last year, but we all saw something special in this kid, so we gave him a year to develop and lots of work over the summer. So we're kind of proud of his development and how he stepped up this year.
I'm curious too, just like kind of in general, how you feel like your team has performed so far this season, and we do want to talk a little bit more too about like when you're going into a rivalry matchup and what you talk to your kids about when you're going into the Hoquiam game. But what do you feel like you've seen from your kids so far this season, and how do you feel like it's gone up to this point?
I mean, I think we performed subpar so far this season. We have had spurts of like we're looking really good at doing the things that we know are good in championship habits. And when we are doing those things, we look kind of unstoppable at times. And then sometimes we get back to old habits and, it reverts back to, seeing the things that we used to see a lot over and over again. So we're just getting used to day by day, just getting better and better and building better habits every day. But so far this season, I think subpar, but we're getting better. And I also think that once Baylor and Manny start clicking, it's going to be hard to stop us.
And Manny is one of the most interesting players that I've seen because for the longest time watching him play, I just thought, man, this kid's amazing. And then I talked to him after the game and I was like, oh my gosh, I didn't even notice about his hand before that. And that's just how good he is. Can you talk to us about some of the work that he puts in to be the level of basketball player that he is?
I mean, I've known Manny since he was in fifth grade. He's been playing with my son in AAU for years. So, to be honest, when I first seen him play, I didn't notice his hand either. He was throwing dimes and behind the back passes and hitting threes, and I was just like, wow, this kid is really amazing. Then when you notice that he does.
I think Coach Brooks might have frozen.
Yeah. Shoot.
Well, maybe he'll come back in a second.
I'm sure it'll glitch back in.
Yeah.
Dang, there it
On
is.
his heavy ball and starts pounding and getting his arms and everything ready for dribbling and everything. So he's dedicated to the game. He loves basketball, and we just love the intensity that he brings when he's locked in.
Absolutely. And I since we talked about Manny and like I said this before, I have a kid who's a senior, so I've watched several of these kids play. I watched Manny play in junior high. I had the same experience. Like I was like, man, that kid's really good, and I didn't realize until after the game was over that he has different sized hands, and I'm like, I don't know how he does the things he does, but I want to talk about a kid that I gave the nickname. I coached Baylor Ainsworth in baseball one year when he was in junior high, and I watched him, and so I'm going to take credit for everything good that he does forever. That's my rule. When I coach a kid in anything at any point at any level, I take credit for everything good they've done for the rest of their life. So Baylor, when he was in junior high, I watched him go out in a game and hit like 6 buckets and get 18 points, and I started calling him Baylor Buckets, and I'm hoping that nickname will stick. So what can you tell me about Baylor and what he brings to your team offensively, especially?
Offensive, I mean, just all around, Baylor's been an amazing leader going through the summer, keeping everybody together, holding people accountable, and just also holding himself accountable and making sure that he's putting in the hard work. I think he put him on about 10 to 15 pounds over the summer, lifting out, working out with, one of my favorites, Grady Springer, and just getting his body ready to take on this, momentous task that we're trying to, get to the district playoffs and hopefully get to state this year. But when Baylor is on, it's hard to stop him. I mean, he's ambidextrous around the basket. He can shoot from anywhere on the floor. And he's also a team guy. So he's always, I think the last game before against Centralia before the Raymond game, I think he had 7 assists. So he's also, willing to go out there and make the moves to get the guy open and make the pass. So he's showing that he's unselfish, but he's dedicated. He does the hard work, and he's one of our best rebounders. So, I definitely appreciate his hard work. And then going forward, I just see even more points coming out of this kid. So once he gets acclimated to where he wants to get his shot from, it's going to be hard to stop him too.
So one of my favorite questions to ask is, we hear about the players who score a lot often, and I'll probably, if I get the chance to talk to you tomorrow night before I broadcast the Aberdeen Hoquiam game, I'll probably ask you the same thing. We hear about the guys who score all the time. Who are some of the kids who maybe don't get the credit but do all the little things right? Grab that extra board, get that 50-50 ball, lock down on defense. Who are some of those kids that I can be watching for tomorrow night?
I think we're full of those guys. We got Zonto Rhea is a kid you're going to keep an eye out tomorrow. He's small in stature, but the dude has a heart of a lion. He plays defense like a Tasmanian devil. Riker Scott, another sophomore. We got a lot of sophomores on our varsity team this year. Definitely a knockdown shooter, hustle guy, really high basketball IQ. And then we got our guy that actually come out this year, Charlie Antich. You guys know him from golf. But got him to come out. He's about 6'5", 6'6", long, athletic kid, man, just rebounding like a monster. I think against Raymond, he had 12 rebounds, been blocking shots and just playing big all season. And to tandem him with Jabron, having a bigger, heavier, powerful center to switch in with him, makes it hard down low for people to guard us and makes us tough defensively. But definitely Zonto, definitely Isaac Garcia, Manny's little brother. I don't think he gets the love that he gets, but he's one of the most craziest athletes I've ever seen. We tried to get him to come out and play football, and I think if he played football, he would be almost likened to like an Aiden Watkins almost. Basketball is definitely his sport, but track and field, he's an amazing triple jumper, long jumper. Hopefully he does high jump this year, but man, the boy can go, and he's only like 5'9", 5'10". He's about 1.5 inches away from dunking right now, so that's like his thing at practice. And him and Michael Shorter going up and trying to see who can dunk. And I think Michael actually completed a dunk last week. So if you look at his Instagram, you probably see a couple of recordings of it.
That's awesome. I love Micah.
Charlie Ansich, by the way, another kid I coached in fall ball once. So everything good he does, I taught him that. Since you brought up Jabron,
yes.
I want to talk just real briefly about Jabron. If people don't know from football season, big kid, 300 plus pounds, well over 6 feet tall. How does it help you guys, and what does Jabron do for you guys in the paint?
If you ever come to the game, you'll hear the crowd yell out brick wall, but his defense inside is incredible. Like, he can't turn baseline. You're not just going to push him out of the way, but he gives us a great, solid enforcer-type attitude inside. But then also, when he gets that ball on offense, he kind of surprises you with how agile he is with the ball, where he can get from the elbow to the basket off a couple of dribbles, hit you with a drop step, go left, go right kind of thing. So, he's not the fastest guy you're going to see on the court, but he's definitely effective using his body, and he solidifies us down low if we got to go up against a couple of bigger guys like we did up against Raymond, and then also against Ari Long. They had a dude that was like 6'9" sophomore, but I think we held him down pretty well for the game, and that was a big thanks to Jabron's defense and Charlie's defense just putting that work in on him. But Jabron just is our anchor, big guy down inside, and he just gives us a lot of force and power, and he's kind of our enforcer, so he doesn't let anybody pick on the little guys.
And it's funny, I'm not sure. I'd be surprised if this has happened before, but both Aberdeen and Hoquiam have coaches with their kids on the team. So I'll ask you the same question that I asked Coach Niemi. What is it like? How's the dynamic to coach your own son? Because I know growing up, we all had dads who helped coach or, had that opportunity. You're a coach. I'm sure you've coached Jabron before. But what's it like? Is it a different dynamic coaching him as a varsity basketball player?
Well, I got to coach his varsity football coach. I'm the O-line, D-line coach at Aberdeen too. So I got to coach him in his senior year of football for the last 3 years. But I think it's a little bit different dynamic between me and Jeff Niemi, because his son is like the guy. He's the guy that's bringing the ball to court. He's the guy using the screen and roll. And my son is more of a support player. So I get a lot of flack from, his mom because, he needs more playing time. But I use him as a media right now and just making sure that, he's down there, he's on the court, he's playing tough. And, I don't want to put him in situations where it's something that he can't do. But, the dynamic between me and Jabron, sometimes we get along, sometimes we don't, it's one of those, love-hate relationships, but I'm his biggest supporter and his biggest hater. So hopefully it keeps him motivated, and then he just, every goal that he sets, he just accomplishes it. So I'm just proud of him all the time.
Great.
That's awesome.
I'm excited to see what Jabron can do on the floor. Anytime you have a guy that size, I think that he can always make a big contribution, especially when he has the athletic ability that Jabron does. But moving on, and we won't keep you too much longer, Coach, but as kind of a parting shot here, I want to talk about the rivalry matchup that's happening. So you're in your second year, so you've been through it. But how do you prepare your kids not only for the fact that, this is a big game coming up with Hoquiam, and Hoquiam's been a pretty good team so far this year, but also there's the added element that this is the Myrtle Street rivalry game. So what are you hoping to see from your kids, and what's the message you're giving them going into tomorrow's matchup?
I think the biggest message is that we have to come out and match their energy. I think Hoquiam, they're pumped about the rivalry just like we're pumped about the rivalry. If they come out with tremendous energy and we don't match that energy tomorrow, it's going to be a tough game for us. So we have to come out prepared, sharp, and ready to go. But we've been studying film. We're making sure our guys are healthy. But I think that just going out and matching that energy, exceeding that energy in our house is very important to this rivalry game tomorrow. And then everybody just being locked in and having fun and playing together. A lot of these guys have been playing with each other since, they're in, third, fourth grade. So, for them, like an Ethan LaRock, he's one of our smaller players. People don't know a lot about him, but it's his senior year. And the kid is tough and he's hungry. And this is his first varsity rivalry game with Hoquiam. So he's got a lot to prove. He feels like, he should have been varsity years ago, and he needs the opportunity. So he's going to get an opportunity to go out there and do his thing tomorrow. So he's one of our smaller, shorter guys. I think I listed him at 5'7", but he's more like 3. But he's tough, and with his spirit, if we come out that kind of spirit, it'll be a good game tomorrow.
I love that you brought up Ethan LaRock, also another kid that I coached in baseball. So if Ethan scores, I taught him that. But Ethan is he's kind of the embodiment of little guy, plays with a chip on his shoulder, but he goes out there and he just does what he needs to do all the time. And he doesn't, go out there with an attitude, a bad attitude. He goes out there with the right kind of attitude where he's going to fight, and he knows that sometimes he's at a size disadvantage, but he's always going to go out and do what he needs to do.
Love it.
Yeah. Anyway, Coach Brooks, thank you so much for joining us. We really sincerely appreciate it, and we would love to catch up with you again sometime once we get into the league season and you guys start playing a little bit more league games. We'll catch up with you at that point.
Hey, definitely. I wanted to say this. I want to just commend you guys on how you represent the Harbor and the youth sports and giving these kids their love, because, without you guys, a lot of these kids would never even get talked about, but you guys motivate them. You guys put them up, show them off when they do well, and I really appreciate you guys. So, yeah, anytime you guys want to, hit me up, and I'd love to come back and talk with you guys, but keep up the good work and keep representing the Harbor.
Yeah, man, that means a lot. Thank you, Coach Brooks.
Thank you, Coach. Appreciate that.
Yeah.
All
right. So that was Aberdeen head coach Brandyn Brooks for boys basketball. And we're going to have some more to talk about. We do have to name a Spivey Athlete of the Week.
Yes, we do.
And also, we'll do a little more preview on that Aberdeen Hoquiam boys basketball game.
Maybe I'll tell a story or two from when I played in the Aberdeen Hoquiam boys basketball
days.
team. You think you know what I'm going to talk about, but I'm going to tell a different story.
Justin, did you ever coach Daniel in anything?
Does flag football count?
I think
when we were both
according
adults.
To your own rules, I think that does count.
Yeah, so anything good Daniel does, I will also take credit for.
All right, first we're going to take a break, and we'll be back with some Glory Days stories as well as naming our Spivey Athlete of the Week right after this. Spivey Realty Group's goal is to make buying, selling, investing, and renting real estate in Grace Harbor simple. They believe in 100% transparency and unparalleled communication with local expertise, tech-enhanced, and top-notch service for their friends, neighbors, and community. Their goal is simple: get a group of strong-willed, hardworking people together who want to make a difference in Grace Harbor and use real estate as the means of achieving that. Voted Grace Harbor's best real estate company. Find them on Facebook or visit graceharborrealestate.com. Spivey Realty Group, elevating small town real estate. Again, thank you to our sponsors, Spivey Realty Group and the law office of Jeffrey A. Domashevitz. Hey, if you own a business and you want to sponsor us as well, we would love that. That'd be awesome. We would find a segment, something that we would focus on and share your business in a very specific way. It'd be a lot of fun to have you involved in recognizing, as Coach Brooks said, local players and the hard work that they put in and a lot of the different things that they do to highlight the local athletes in our area. Again, so thank you to our sponsors, the law office of Jeffrey A. Domashevitz, no relation, and what's the A stand for, and the Spivey Realty Group. By the way, Kevin Spivey, who the Realty Group's named after.
Yeah.
Freak athlete. Just going to throw that out there.
Technically, weren't you the coach of the softball team
Yes.
that Kevin played for? So
I
anything
was.
good that Kevin does, you can take credit for.
Right. Absolutely. There it
Forever.
is. Forever. Yeah.
And I think it extends to business as well.
Oh, if it extends to business, then I'm a rock star coach.
You are.
Nice.
Good job, Daniel.
Awesome.
Coach of the year, Daniel Hargrove.
Getting some more we got a lot of comments in. I love that we're getting some views in here, and N2 Media, thank you very much for hopping on and watching, but also helping us out with some tips and different things, that we're going to take a look into as well. But we really appreciate you guys hopping on, and according to them, and N2, can you describe what they are a little bit more?
So,
I know who they are, but the description of who they are a little bit more.
So Nick Sisson runs
Yes.
N2 Media. He covers sports down in the Kelso Longview area.
And lots of family of Andrew down in the Kelsey Longview area.
By the way, I met Nick in person for the first time last week,
Nice.
and he's super nice guy. First of all, we had a good chat.
Well, that's good. I'm glad he's not a jerk.
But I realized also watching him broadcast the Montesano boys basketball game against RA Long, he does everything. So he's on a laptop and doing the actual play-by-play color commentary all by himself and running the camera.
What?
Video broadcast, running the camera,
Dude.
swiveling the camera by himself, and also doing all the commentary by himself. And he does it almost every night.
That's impressive.
Doing Mark Morris, R.A. Long, La Center, those teams that are down there. Huge shout out to N2 Media. They also do a weekly show between him and sometimes Devin Record from Recruit Radar is on there. Tyson from I'm forgetting what Tyson's.
Our concurrent
Twitter.
viewers just tanked, so I'm assuming that he stopped watching.
Well, that's.
I'm just kidding.
but they have if you go to the N2 Media on either Facebook or Twitter, there you can follow them, and they do some live shows to talk about what's going on across the state in sports. But Nick does a great job.
Yeah, awesome job, and so glad that we're watching. He also thinks, as more of a regional/state guy who pays attention, he says that Aberdeen will have a great chance to compete for a playoff spot this year as well. So
Excited
good to
for
see that. Gonna tell you this Glory Day story. Should I tell it before or after we do Athlete of the Week?
Before. I can't wait any longer to Andrew. They were static for a second and now it's gone.
I don't think I can play.
Has that file been replaced?
No, it's
with static.
It's not a file. It's a it's a bigger, deeper issue than that.
A deeper issue. Andrew was gonna try and play the Glory Days
Glory
sound.
days.
That one.
I don't know any more of the words glory days.
Nailed it.
Thank
Absolutely. So you were expecting me to talk, I believe, about my second Aberdeen Hoquiam varsity basketball
When you
game.
taunted the Aberdeen student section and Rob Burns afterwards trapped you into saying something that you didn't want to say.
Right. He asked a very leading question.
Yeah.
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 I didn't
Rob,
taunt the student
the
section.
49ers fan.
I taunted my friend who was the I taunted my friend who was the band director.
Okay.
Yeah.
Who is kind of at the front of the student section.
Rob also wants to know. Yeah, that's a good point. Rob also wants to know. Holy Toledo, what was that?
Yeah,
I
that was
think
some
talking about the static.
Yeah, we apologize. It's Andrew's fault.
Yeah. And to give Rob his credit, he didn't. He says, "Wait, what?" Yeah, I bet he doesn't even remember. In my opinion, he led me into a question. Really, it was a very innocent question. He said, "What does it mean to you to not only win on Aberdeen senior night but knock them out of the playoffs?"
Objection, leading the witness.
I felt very led. So then I was like, "Yeah, it's awesome."
You said,
not only
screw the Bobcats.
Basically, that's basically what my quote was in the paper the next day, and I saw it and was like, "Oh no, I'm gonna get killed."
Rob's fault.
Yeah, I'm gonna blame Rob on that one. That was seconds before my very first radio appearance.
Okay.
Which is apt that I mispronounced appearance because I also said Rivalry.
Yeah.
Because Ian Cope asked me, what was it like to have a good game in a rivalry game, and I was like, well, anytime you're playing in a rivalry game, that'll stick with me.
You had a speech impediment.
Yep, that'll stick with me forever. No, what I was going to tell the story of, as we listen to these coaches talk about this Aberdeen Hoquiam game, and especially the kids who are playing in it for the first time, it's different. And what I mean by that is the adrenaline can get you sometimes. Like, this is not a game.
The rhythm?
Yeah. What?
The rhythm is gonna get you.
This is not a game. I'm just going to ignore that. This is not a game that you have to hype kids up for.
Okay.
But you almost have to calm them down for. So in my case, it was a little bit different. It was not only my first Aberdeen Hoquiam varsity game, but it was also the first game of the season.
Oh.
And so I get in the game. Aberdeen's pressing. No, I didn't get in the game. I was starting the game. But I think Aberdeen scores.
You got in the game at the start.
Yeah. Aberdeen scores a bucket.
Okay.
I'm playing
on you.
I'm playing point guard. Okay. No, it wasn't on me.
Okay.
Stop it.
Sorry.
I take the ball to start breaking the press. And my first pass, I supercharged so much with adrenaline that I threw it like 15 feet over Joey's head.
Oh, I've heard this story.
And it went right to Coach Eccles on the sideline. And he just catches it and looks at me like, huh? And Joey goes, Daniel, calm down.
That was a good Joey voice.
I was just like, I'm sorry. But it'll sneak up and grab you sometimes.
You think I didn't know that story?
I didn't think that you didn't know it. I just assumed that you thought when I brought up Aberdeen Hoquiam that, of course, I was going to brag on myself. But I instead was going to go with, this Aberdeen Hoquiam game will hit you different if you aren't prepared for it.
It's so perfect that you passed the ball right to your coach. Like, it couldn't have been more... like, it could have gone to some rando in the stands.
Yeah.
That wouldn't have been as funny.
No, he caught it, like, head high.
Also,
like,
Coach
right
Eccles,
there.
speaking of Coach Eccles, did you know he's a psycho?
Wait.
Did
I
you know
was
that-
not expecting him to go there.
Did you know that when
there.
Coach Eccles is not coaching basketball, which takes up 99% of your times, he's reffing basketball?
That's crazy.
My son played a game the other day, and
Is he allowed to coach or ref girls basketball?
it was boys basketball, so I don't know.
Because
he
I
was-
would wonder if that would be like a conflict of interest.
He was reffing the boys basketball game when Centralia was in Montesano. So, like, seriously no conflict there.
Right.
But after the game, I talked to him, and I was like, you don't have enough going on in your life? Like,
Right.
you have a job and then another job, which is coaching sports, and also great start to the season for Aberdeen girls basketball.
Excited about that.
Really good for Coach Eccles there. And then that we've talked so much about how much of your time it takes up to be a coach. And then he told me that, like, basically every night they don't have a game, he's reffing.
It's nuts.
So they practice, and he's like,
That's
oh,
nuts.
yeah, practice is done by, like, 5 o'clock, so I can go anywhere I need to ref. And I was like, when do you sleep? And he said, actually, right now. And I was like, okay, I'll let you go. See you later.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So anyway, that
Curtis
was
is a good dude.
Yeah,
and,
he
like,
is.
Just the idea that someone would go, you're already above and beyond if you're coaching a high school basketball team.
Right.
Like, you've gone above and beyond what most people do to feed into the community and help our local youth thrive.
Right.
And he's gone beyond that to help solve the officiating crisis that we have in this state.
It's nuts.
Good job, Curtis.
Attaboy, Curtis. All right. So I told my little Glory Day story there.
Okay.
It's weird. The Aberdeen games that year was maybe our best performance and our worst performance. Nah, as a team, it wasn't quite our best performance. It was my best performance.
Okay.
But as a team, the first Aberdeen game was probably our worst performance, the first game that year. Sorry, that was just a random painful memory as we missed the playoffs by one game and we lost that first game against them. Yeah, that sucked big time. Izzy Garcia hit a 3. End of the game. Sorry, it still hurts. Anyway, where were we at again? What are we doing now? Somebody change this.
Drop so bad and
Glory
I can't play
days.
If we only
Some
had a,
words go here, glory days.
I'm gonna reach out on the internet and see if somebody can create a Glory Days in a minor key version, so that when I tell sad stories like that, it can be like Glory Days.
I could just do it.
You can do it.
I don't know.
I'm not sure if you can, but I think your wife might be able to.
Glory days.
Yeah, that.
Here.
Stop it. Is it time to name our Spivey Athlete of the Week?
So Jane Roloff.
Jane. So Jane Roloff. That's a good way to start this.
Currently running.
Still running.
I gotta.
Sadly, we couldn't get her on for an interview. We were hoping for that. We'll still effort that, but it's kind of hard to interview someone when they're always running.
Yeah, good point. Jane, we are going. I think when we get back, because we are, in case anyone didn't know, because we haven't told anyone yet.
That's true.
We are intending to take a 2-week break for the holiday season, mostly for our sanity.
Don't tell
Happy Hogs Watch, everyone.
Yes.
So the 17th and the 24th, we will not have a normal show, although my intention is to record something that's just a local sports roundup, so at least we can put that out. We will continue over these 2 weeks to name a Spivey Athlete of the Week.
Absolutely.
And we will put out some Stump Daniel trivia brought to you by the law office of Jeffrey A. Domashevitz.
Sweet.
Even though Daniel might not be involved.
Can we post a picture where I'm like that?
Hold on. Wait, make that face again.
Are you ready?
Hold on. Nope.
I know
Camera,
technology is hard for
technology.
you. Especially
Picture of your face,
cameras.
Make the face again. Okay, that's going to be the face
There we
that's
go.
on the graphic.
Notice I had to make the sound to make the face
Did
again.
my camera flash? I can't.
I don't
tell.
understand why.
Is this
It didn't flash.
Oh,
I'm not
that's a good
blinded.
picture. Hannah's in the background.
That is
like
a good.
it?
Yeah,
That's
great.
a good picture. I
Solid.
like it. What were we talking about again?
Jane Roloff.
Okay, so we've got several nominations for our Spivey Athlete of the Week, and
Yes,
you
we
can
did.
throw any more in if you want to.
Add him in the chat. Throw it in there.
Oh, I thought you were saying someone named Adam was in the chat.
Oh no, I don't see an Adam. I see a Buzz.
The scrimmage.
I see the scrimmage. I see me. I see somebody says I can't CRTMN 2007. That's when I graduated. Said great podcast.
Yeah,
Can't
that's
believe
good.
it took me this long to find it. Keep up the good work and hopefully run into you this season. Go Eagles. Oh, I'm assuming an Elma fan then. Justin automatically thinks less of you, but I'm all right with it. Do you know who that is? I don't know who that is.
We'll figure it out.
We'll figure it out.
Yeah. Anyway, I'm going to name the Spivey Athlete of the Week nominees
Okay.
because I said I was going to do that like 3 minutes ago, and then I
Yes.
got distracted. So I'm going to start with DeLon Chan.
You're easily distracted, by the way.
Accurate.
Yeah.
DeLon Chan from Montesano Boys Basketball. We mentioned that he had 24 points, 4 steals, and 2 assists in the win over Centralia.
Dude gets buckets.
Monty Boys Basketball is off to a 3-1 start, and DeLon averaging 22 points per game. Now, we talked about how 20 points plus is a lot in a game.
Yes, we did.
He's averaging 22 in a game through the first 4. And for the last 3 games, he's been 24, 26, 24 points.
Dang.
So he's been really good.
And I didn't know that he's only a junior?
Yeah, he's
Dang.
a junior. Yeah. And then there's the obvious one here, which we didn't mention in the roundup, but I'm going to mention it now.
Okay.
So Jane Roloff
Right.
from Hoquiam Cross Country went to the USATF National Cross Country Meet in Louisville, Kentucky.
Nashville. Or Nationals, not Nashville. Nationals
No, Louisville.
in Louisville. Nationals, not Nashville. My bad.
She finished 18th in this meet. There was over 100 runners, and by finishing in the top 25, she qualified as a high school All-American.
Wow.
Jane Roloff
Never stops running Jane.
literally
Jane never stops running roll off.
is a state champion
Yeah.
and an All-American cross-country runner for Hoquiam.
That's awesome.
And we had someone on our social medias
Yes.
who had the nerve
The nerve.
to say,
Sir.
Jane doesn't get enough recognition. And I was like, we talk about Jane every gosh darn week.
Jane is one of our favorite topics.
She has been a multiple
Right.
Athlete of the Week winner
Yes.
with us
Yep.
over the course of the last 2 years.
Yep.
She now is a state champion. She now is an All-American.
Yep.
Nothing will equate to her being a Spivey Athlete of the Week
Absolutely.
multiple times. But we haven't even hit track season yet.
That's true.
Like, Jane has all these accomplishments. I had a very brief conversation with Jane's cross-country coach on the phone earlier today, and he was like, man, I was just talking with someone about how Jane's senior season has gone, and we were like, man, state champion, All-American. And I was like, we still have track season. Like,
crazy.
the amount of accomplishments Jane is going to have before she ends her high school career.
It's nuts.
And then she's going to go Division I cross country.
Is she really?
So
nice. I mean, I guess that makes sense if you're an All-American.
All-American, state champion, like,
yeah.
It was between, I saw a comment that said it was between Gonzaga and something else.
Nice.
So, like, Jane's going to go be, like, a big-time cross-country star.
Right. Did you coach her in baseball once?
No.
Oh, okay.
That has been the theme of this show, though.
It has been,
I coached a lot of these kids in baseball once.
It has been. just a little bit.
And if I coach them in baseball, that means that everything in all sports.
Everyone.
And in every aspect of life that they do, I take credit for.
Yep. Yeah, because, in the early years of baseball, you're not teaching baseball. You're teaching
life,
like foundational principles for like participating in team sports.
Yes.
Yeah.
Competitive advantage.
Which
being a winner.
Is not, but okay.
Anyway, Jane Roloff. So that's a nominee.
Okay.
Torrance Bonina?
8th grader.
This is an Acosta 8th grader. By the way, what's up with Acosta 8th graders?
Yeah,
like, you got Bristol Toll out there who not only scored all the goals and is now going to score goals for the Grays Harbor Gulls, but she's also putting the ball in the goal for the Acosta basketball team as an 8th grader as well.
Basketball goal.
But this 8th grader placed first in the first junior high wrestling tournament at Adna and will now continue wrestling this season with the high school team.
Nice.
So congratulations to Torrance there. Huge accomplishment.
Absolutely.
Being able to not only exceed the 8th grade level, but then now being ready to jump into varsity level.
Right. And then also we have Miley Anderson.
Yeah.
Grace Harbor Gulls FC Team Evolution. But this is not about soccer, Justin.
Right. Football.
It's not about football either. No. She broke 2 state powerlifting records at the WABDL Worlds in Las Vegas. I don't know what WABDL, but it's a Worlds thing in Las Vegas.
It's like the Washington Association of Bench and Deadlift or something.
Oh, well done there, sir. I would have
World,
just made a
World Association of Benchers and Deadlifters.
Oh, World. Yeah, get out of here with that Washington junk.
My bad.
Anyway, she is the first in her age group.
It was in Vegas.
First in her age group, deadlift and bench. Yeah, that's pretty funny.
Wow, I failed.
Yeah,
I
did.
apologize.
Yep.
Bad job by me.
Vegas. Justin thought Vegas was in Washington, guys. It's
Is it
no
not?
big deal.
Deadlift and bench, and I got the message from Coach Eddie, and this is why I like the Gulls. As much as I'm leery about like travel teams and stuff like that,
Yeah, you are.
The Gulls continue to win me over. Coach Eddie takes the time to mention this about something that's not even soccer or football related for one of his players. So she set Washington State records in weightlifting for deadlift with 232 pounds and 248. Dang. That's crazy. So
That's a lot.
that's a lot. It's probably more than I could do right now.
And
I can deadlift about 25 pounds because that's how much my 2-year-old weighs.
I could deadlift way more than that. I'm just saying. And I have a deadlift bar in the garage at my house.
What's the difference between a deadlift bar and just a normal bar?
Well, when you do deadlift at competitions, it's a normal bar.
That's so.
Yeah. So you mean
You have a bar at your
have a
home?
bar?
No.
What?
Because there's a bar that's specially made to be able to be picked up and put down on surfaces that it can't be slammed on. So, like...
Wait. The bar isn't getting slammed on
No.
anything. It's the plates that are getting slammed on stuff when you set
there's
them
a
down.
bar that's intended to make it easier to set down so that the plates don't slam on the ground. And I have one of those
A
in my
cheater
house.
bar?
Yeah, it doesn't sound like an official deadlift
Look,
bar.
you
sir.
know what? If you knew everything about powerlifting like I do, you would understand all of this, but you don't.
That's true.
So
I mean,
bad
you
job
do
by
have
you.
you do have a son who's into powerlifting.
I have 2 sons who are about to do powerlifting.
Yeah,
so-
and I have a dad who benched 395, so I guess I know nothing at all.
When have
Shout
you,
out to Dad.
What's the most you've ever benched?
Not that much.
Three what?
95.
Stop it. He did not do
Yeah,
that.
he did.
No, he did
Yeah,
not.
I'm pretty sure he was over 50
That's
when
two
he did
Daniel Hargroves.
Daniel's doing quick math in his head.
it. That's over 2 Daniel Hargroves.
Your dad is a monster.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah.
I mean that in a positive way.
Yeah,
Anyway, who's
absolutely.
going to be the Spivey Athlete of the Week?
We got some good choices here, Cotton. I don't know what to do.
So here's my conflict.
You want to give it to a Monty kid. That's
Listen,
a common
just,
conflict.
you know what?
Mr.
For
Hargrove.
once in your life, let me talk. All right. I went into this going, all right, DeLon
It's been
had a
solid.
great week last week.
Yeah, he did.
Multiple games of 20-plus points.
Yep.
He's helping Montesano to wins when they haven't had a lot of wins
Right.
in previous seasons.
From what you've told me about him,
You're gonna
He's
enjoy
had a ton of
watching him
steals,
play.
too.
He's a good he needs to work on certain amounts of discipline, but he's never really played organized basketball before.
which just blows
And-
my mind.
And when I watch him
He's
play,
never
I'm like,
played organized basketball before?
He played a little once he came to the States. He played a little bit of AAU, going into varsity.
So, like this year.
Yeah, and he's
What?
been pickup ball outside of that.
That
Have you found out where he's from yet? Because he's an exchange student, right?
I don't want to say.
did he play a lot?
'Cause I might be
of,
wrong.
Did he play a lot of pickup?
Okay, so you
ball as
haven't
a
found
kid?
out. Yeah, has he played a lot of ball? I
Yes.
mean, I'd assume so.
Okay,
He's a walking bucket.
Well, I was saying that feels crazy to me because I've always thought of I've always thought of basketball and soccer as the two sports that if you didn't play it a ton as a little kid,
Right.
before you're playing even for real, if you didn't play it a ton, you're kind of hopeless as an adult because you're like dribbling like Stanley.
So let me explain to you briefly from The Office. Very
good-
good. That's
good
a good
pull there. Yeah, I
Let
love
me
that.
explain to you briefly why I've been so insanely impressed by DeLon.
Right.
Because when I watched him play in Game 1 against R.A. Long,
Yeah.
while like a lot of his skills were immediately noticeable.
Yeah.
Like this kid has great hands on defense. Mm-hmm. He can really put the ball in the hoop.
Yep.
He's good at contested buckets. He scored 15 points in that game, and R.A. Long's a really good team.
Yeah. Coach
I
Brooks
thought-
mentioned him, too.
I thought that's a kid who doesn't know how to play team basketball.
Wow. Even though he had that good of a game.
Even though he had that good of a game, because when the ball went to him, he was a black hole.
Right.
Like at that point, it was like, I'm the only guy who can score. I'm going to go score.
Right.
And many times it did not work out. And over the course of the next 3 games, he has turned into a guy who not only is learning the team aspects of defense,
Right.
because he's a phenomenal instinctual defensive player with great hands.
Right.
You know, as evidenced by the fact that he had 4 steals in there last week.
Yeah.
But also, he had 2 assists, which, as I watched that R.A. Long game, I would have told you, that kid's not getting 2 assists in a game.
Which two's not the lot.
It's going to sound harsh, but it's not, because like
Right.
he didn't know how to play organized basketball.
Right.
And then he came in, and the amount of improvement
Shout out
from
Coach
game
Barnes.
1 to game 4
Just going to throw that out there.
is absolutely insane.
That's crazy.
He's going to get better as the season goes on.
Or should I say, shout out Coach Barnes, Coach Barnes, Coach Barnes.
Coach Barnes,
Okay.
Buckman,
Buckman,
Parsons, Farmer, and Stott.
Stop. It's a
I hope
good
I didn't
staff.
forget someone.
Solid
It's
staff
such
there.
a good staff.
Yeah.
I really love the coaching staff.
I'm kind of annoyed
So
at that
while,
staff.
while I'm like, watching DeLon play has been just amazing.
Yeah.
Jane Roloff's an All-American.
Yeah. I'm not sure if we've had an All-American before.
I am so... You know what? The person who said that Jane Roloff needs more recognition,
Yeah.
it was Jamie. And while I
Yeah.
resent the notion
Yeah.
that we haven't given Jane Roloff recognition,
Right.
because as a cross-country athlete and a track athlete, we talk about her just about every gosh darn week. Jane
Yep.
Roloff is an All-American.
All-American. That's nuts.
And we've given Spivey Athlete of the Week for cross-country district champions.
Yep.
Well, you did it in the week I was gone.
Yeah. Well, it wasn't just district champions. What she did at that district was kind of impressive.
That's not the point.
Remember, she kind of demolished everything.
That's not the point.
Okay.
League champ, district champ, state champ, All-American.
Yep.
So, well, for the second week in a row, I feel like DeLon Chan's Athlete of the Week has been thwarted by a Grizzly. Because last week it was Lincoln Niemi and his 42-point debut in basketball.
Yep.
How do you not give the Spivey Athlete of the Week to someone who just went to... And I was talking about this with my son. She went and she placed 18th out of 100-plus runners.
Right.
100-plus runners that are not going to Louisville, Kentucky, unless they are extremely serious about cross-country.
Right. At least state champs, probably.
So,
like, at the very least.
You're telling me that she is in the top 1/5 of cross-country runners from all classifications across the whole state who take cross-country really seriously.
Yeah. Across the country. Not across the state.
So DeLon Chan will be our Spivey Athlete of the Week.
I'm sorry, DeLon.
3 straight games of 20-plus points.
Dude, DeLon...
4 steals against Centralia.
No.
22-point average for the season as an exchange. What?
I'm sorry, but no. DeLon, I'm excited to watch you play, and keep up the good work. You will get recognized with this award. I'm excited for you, but we have an All-American, and it's Jane Never Stops Running Roll-Off.
Yeah, and we are hoping to get Jane on the show at some point. We're probably going to have to wait till after the Christmas break.
Yeah.
We were hoping to get her this week, but, you know, Jane, like, literally from the time she stopped the cross-country meet, she's still running.
She ran somewhere else.
As you pointed out, it's hard when someone's actually actively running to get them on the show.
Dude, literally, if we ever get her on the show, I'm going to see if we can, like, ask her to be on a treadmill while we're doing it.
Okay, so what I'm going to do then, because I have asked for Jane's contact information to be sent to me,
right.
I'm going to have it forwarded to you.
Okay, yeah.
And you can coordinate that.
I'll ask for it.
Because we've talked about in the past that we imagine that in school at Hoquiam High School, when all the other kids are sitting at desks in the class learning, Jane has a special treadmill that's been converted into a desk, so while all the other kids are sitting and learning, she can run.
Exactly.
While she takes notes.
It's got to be. It's got to be the case.
There's no other way.
Anyway, congratulations to Jane Roloff yet again, our Spivey Real Estate Athlete of the Week.
I thought we agreed on DeLon Chan.
No, we did not.
Okay.
We did not do that because Jane is an All-American, and that needs to be recognized. Absolutely amazing achievement yet again. And I think at this point, though, we can take a break from Jane Roloff until track season.
But then track season rolls around and she's going to get it like 5 more times. And I'm so sick of giving Spivey Athlete of the Week to Jane Roloff instead of DeLon Chan.
Should we limit it to like regionals, state, and whatever nationals she competes in next year?
We already said out loud that we were going to do that. We said out loud we were going to say that no cross-country person could probably be Athlete of the Week until districts at least.
Yeah, and then
she
won a district.
Didn't we name her? No, she lost districts to Haley Schweppe. Didn't we name her Athlete of the Week
Was
after
it
league?
regionals?
No, because at league she broke the record.
League was the record. So it went league and state, but we gave it to her. We must have had a down week that one. She went to the Seaside one. The like Muddy Mile or whatever that was. Not mile, but that one that was like a much bigger meet.
Yeah.
And she did really well at that one, if not winning.
I just want to say out loud that I'm annoyed that we keep giving Jane Roloff the Spivey Athlete of the Week instead of Bulldogs.
I love it.
I want more Bulldogs to be Athlete of the Week.
Having ran cross country with probably the previous best women's cross country runner in Hoquiam, to see Jane topple all of those things is pretty exciting.
And just as a parting shot, since we're giving attention to cross country locally, there's been a lot of success cross country locally. Tiggy, one of our favorite athletes, Timmy Higgins, as well as
he's running Hoquiam. And he's running collegially.
He's from Hoquiam and he's running collegiately.
There it is.
At St. Martin's with Eric Jacklin. From Montesano. So we have other...
Once rivals, now teammates.
Well, they've always been like really good friends.
How do they compete together when they actually hate each other?
Enemies.
Well, you don't have to hate each other in cross country.
They hate each other so much that sometimes they would punch each other on the course.
I'm going to text Tiggy and ask him how much he hates Eric
Just
Jacklin.
hates him. By the way, we've made all that up. Or I've made all that up.
Yes, you made it up.
Is that going to do it for our show today?
Oh,
Do you have anything else? What?
I thought we were just talking.
Or a program?
A program?
This was our program
Yeah. No, I have nothing else.
today. You don't have any glory days that you want to talk about? Like how you coached all of these kids in baseball?
That he has been
touched on all
talking
that.
about all.
Right?
You know,
That
it's
should be
funny
the title
because
of this show.
The amount of kids that you coached
The
and
title
like
of this show is actually Justin coached him, and
right?
did you catch when with
It's
Lincoln?
amazing.
Lincoln Niemi.
I did no idea that you had coached Lincoln Niemi in anything.
I wasn't a coach on that team.
Right.
I literally helped at like 3 practices.
That's hilarious.
So I
I'm
coached
surprised-
Lincoln
I'm
at
surprised-
like 3 practices, and then when this game started, I was not a part of the coaching staff.
I'm surprised you didn't say.
Shout out Dustin Bruland.
Yeah. I'm surprised you didn't say when Jeff was like, as you know, he's played a lot of basketball. I'm surprised you weren't like, well, yeah, we watched him at Hoop Fest. So, all of his success is because we watched him at Hoop Fest when he was like 8 years old or something like that.
There are rules. You can't just watch somebody and take credit for what they do.
Oh,
You have to have
them.
coached them in some capacity.
Right.
what happens if you're watching
Like
and yelling advice?
me with Ethan LaRock and Baylor Ainsworth and Charlie Ansich and Mason Rasmussen and all these other kids.
All these other kids. So you're telling me when Anchor's going up through high school.
Yep.
And I've coached a bunch of random kids around the area, I get to take credit for everything they do?
That
You?
is what he's telling
Hey,
you.
you do
Okay.
you, buddy. But I can tell you right now that at some point when Anchor is in some youth athletics, I'm going to coach him. And that when I do, I will take credit for everything good that your
Really?
son does.
Are you going to start coaching in Hoquiam, Justin?
Well, he'll be in Monty by that point.
On that bombshell, we're going to say good night. I've never said that before. But this has been the Scrimmage After Dark.
After dark.
After Dark.
It's kind of creepy.
So, for my co-host, Justin, you all your success to me, Damashevitz.
And my co-host Daniel said, "Glory days." Hargrove, I'm better than Bruce Springsteen.
And our producer,
Here are
Andrew,
some words, glory days.
Bus Roadkill
Words
Gross.
go in
Wait,
this
what?
spot, glory
But,
days.
okay.
Because we threw you under
Yep,
the bus
yep.
at the beginning.
And we will be back with a show. Are we going to do a show on the 31st?
Dude, should we do a New Year's
A New
Eve
Year's
show?
Eve show?
At midnight.
At
Wait,
midnight?
Are we going to do that?
That'd be
Or
kinda
Are we going
cool.
to take 3 weeks off?
I think we're going to do a show that day. I'm not sure if it's going to be on midnight, though.
Okay.
I
we'll
will
see you
commit
guys-
right now to the fact that there will be a show on the 31st, but
Okay.
I'm not going to commit to what it is.
Okay.
Because
Okay.
at this moment,
Yeah.
Hannah is behind you and she has a panicked look on her face.
Oh, no.
So Andrew may not be a part of the 31st show.
Uh-oh.
So Daniel, that might be you and me
Uh-oh.
in my office.
Gotcha. Well,
And so everyone, forewarning, don't listen to the show that comes out on the 31st because it will be poorly produced by me.
But probably a lot less screeching noises.
Here, 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 glory,
glory
days.
days. You've been listening to the Scrimmage After Dark.
Glory days. Here.
I scored 18 points against Aberdeen.